for rates like sonar technician. And it was a good chunk of change.
Well,
Is it like E's, once you get to E certain, then there's a jump from like E4 to E5 or E5 to 6 or something like that?
Oh, yeah, time and service
Is
is
it
great,
something
yeah,
like that? So-
Yeah,
that's just regular.
but you also have to do merit type stuff where you have to keep a clean record.
Oh,
And you have to do courses and studies for advancement.
she got a pretty good sign-on bonus. You know, they definitely are making it work for people, but I think the recruitment is down.
It is.
So, yeah. So,
you're gonna miss them.
you don't even want to know about it. I'm struggling with this. I'm proud as hell. But Todd will tell you, she's kind of like, oh, very much so.
Yeah, but at least with what she's chosen.
Yeah.
She's somewhat out of harm's way.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it impressed me. I don't know why.
Hey, Will.
Seems like a movie. There was someone that was crazy. And then all of a sudden, all these young people see a rainbow.
It
Yeah.
was beautiful. It was
Yeah.
like so
We
vibrant.
couldn't, yeah, we couldn't believe it.
I was like.
Holy hell.
And the clouds were
And Carl
phenomenal.
said, I just hate my field.
So now I can't do it.
I said, you should be growing sunflowers. I told him that. Shut up.
But then it got better. Because we left here, we stopped for a quick bite, we went home. He's putting the recliner up, putting his feet up. Phone rings, his phone rings. Alarm Central for the town hall again,
Really?
again. So they have the state release en route. So I said, let's go. Well, I think what happened because of the rain, he figured out that she pushed away when she left, which sets the motion detector.
And then no.
So she must have set that and walked through to go out the back door to her car.
Yeah.
And when she got to the elevator, it just set everything off. So,
Good thing we
Well, I
didn't
didn't have
have
any
the alarm
problem
work. So-
with the keys to the station here.
And
Should find
She
her.
called me every hour on the hour to make sure I was bringing that key back.
And then you hit the away button and.
And I hit the, and I told everybody how to do it, so make sure I did this right.
so everybody went through, everybody picked a spot. We went through the bathrooms. I went upstairs, went through the lounge and the closets and everything else, just to make sure because it came through as a burglary.
Wow.
Hey, Tina, you can start.
Okay. All right. Recorder's on?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Okay, I am going to call to order the Town of Griswold Board of Selectmen regular meeting on Tuesday, August 13th at 6 p.m. at the Griswold Senior Center. Call to order, Tina Falk for Selectmen, Martin McKinney, Selectman, Rich Grabowski, Selectman. Number 2, Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. And just, housekeeping order. Restrooms are down the hall and exit. You leave here, turn left out the front door.
I turned the lights on in the men's room because I couldn't figure out how to do it properly.
Thank you for doing that.
I walk inside the pitch black, I couldn't figure out.
Their motion, Martin.
I noticed.
Okay. Item number 3, approval of meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion that we approve items 3A through 3I as presented.
I second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve meeting minutes 3A through 3I. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, item number 4, correspondence.
Have any?
We have no correspondence, which is hard to believe. And item number 5, old business, 5A.
All right, I'll go with that. I did have somebody who was willing to come in and look at it, but elections going on this is the possible upgrading the owl to cameras and stuff in the town hall meeting. He was nervous about going in during elections, so I'm assuming I'll get him in next week. Basically, he's got an idea where the cameras come at us and then one going forward on a podium, a single podium, you know, that doesn't move or sits up in the middle of everything. So, but I need another couple of weeks that people they really do call you back, but nobody kind of shows up.
Understand.
On the timer.
I'll make a motion that we table item 5A for the next regular meeting.
Okay, we have a motion to table 5A. I will second. All in favor? Aye. Item 5B, discussion and possible action on status of Main Street decorative lighting. Anything, any updates on that?
Yes.
That's tough.
No, it's not, that's not, we did have a small meeting, and we went over, some of the components of, I'm reluctant to put a number to, the Board of Finance to pay for them without going back to the community development grant or trying to get a grant before we put that back up. I know the last one was funded on that. I know, we spent a lot of time in our meeting trying to figure out if we should raise them, should move them back and stuff like that, but really, without having any money to do it, I don't know what's even worth putting anything forward to, but I think at a minimum, you know, we have some grant writers, already existing grant writer in the town now, and I think he should apply for a grant back on the community development grant and see if we can get some type of we can come up with a number for them. I'm sure we can have another meeting, come up with a number for them. But to pay for with grants versus also the Board of Selectmen going to the Board of Finance, asking for money,
Agreed.
without extinguishing the grant procedure first. Does that make any sense?
It does. And even if we are fortunate enough to get a grant in that regard, and if it's a little short, then we can go to the Board of Finance.
And they're not big
Supplement.
numbers, they're not, the plates we looked at weren't big numbers, you know, 7,000-8,000 breakaway stuff. Predicated on whether we're gonna rise them up or put bumpers on them or some other moving them, the couple on the corner, we thought maybe we should move back. But I don't think it's prudent to even pursue anything until we have the money, the
know
resources,
about funding.
somebody to, or say, or you guys say to me, let's just do it anyway, you know, what I mean, whatever everybody wants to do, I'm fine with doing it, but I think we should. We have a grant writing, Mario, we should apply for the community development grant and see what's out there, we applied for it before. He's got it before, and I think, part of it, that's part of the deal, and I think.
Yeah. I concur.
Does Mario know that?
That he's a grant writer, I don't know.
No. No.
No, I haven't talked to him about it at all,
Okay,
but I certainly can tomorrow if you want, or tonight, yeah.
if you'd like to.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Tomorrow's fine.
Yeah, tomorrow,
Yes, I think it's best.
Yeah, that's fine.
that You talk to him.
I'm fine.
Okay. So, we're gonna table item 5B. Pending a conversation with the town grant writer on applying for the community's development grant. Is that a motion, Tina? Yes, that's a motion.
I'll second it, yeah.
You have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, number 6, new business. A, discussion and possible action on 25 tax refunds for a total of $3,805.57 as presented by Leona Sharkey, tax collector.
I'll make a motion that we approve the 25 tax refunds totaling $3,805.57 as presented by the tax collector.
I'll second that, but I just want to know how I can get on this list sometime.
Pay your taxes twice. We'll get half of it back.
There you go. Okay, so we have a motion and a second on 6A. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? 6B, discussion and possible action on update on social media issues. I have nothing to discuss on anything that's on social media.
I have not.
Anybody else?
No,
Rich?
no.
Okay, move on to 6C, discussion and possible action on reappointment of Richard Wazalek and Miranda Mahoney as members of the Public Health and Safety Committee for a term of 7/1/2024 through 6/30/2030.
I'll make a motion that we reappoint Rich Wazlik and Miranda Mahoney as members of the Public Health and Safety Committee for a term of 7/1/2024 through 6/30/2030.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And then 6D, discussion and possible action on reappointment of Mike Minarski as a regular member of the Recreation Commission for a term of 7/27/2024 through 7/26/2026.
I make a motion that we reappoint Mike Panowski, the term of 7/27/24 to 7/26/2006.
I'll second it, but I have a question.
Sure.
Didn't we just do something
I
here?
thought we did the same thing. I
We
was
did.
gonna say.
He
Did-
took, first he came on as an alternate, and then we
Oh.
moved him up to a regular position, but when we moved him up, that
was
position
just-
was expiring in like 2 weeks, so.
Oh, okay, all right, now I understand. I,
You are not wrong, we did just do
Yeah.
it for a different term.
Yeah, good point. Good point made. So we have a motion and a second on 6D. All in favor?
I,
Aye. Opposed? 6E, discussion and possible action on reappointment of Ryan Snide as a regular member of the Recreation Commission for a term of 5/16/2024 through 5/15/2026.
I'll make a motion that we reappoint Ryan Snide as a regular member of the Rec Commission for the term of 5/16/2024 through 5/15/2026.
I second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed. 6F, discussion and possible action on appointment of Melissa Staniski as an alternate member of the Recreation Commission for a term of 8/13/2024 through 8/12/2025.
I make a motion we appoint Marissa Fineski
Staniski,
to alternate position on rec commission for the term of 8/13/2024 to 8/12/2025.
I'll second.
okay, we have a motion and a second on 6F. All in favor? Aye, opposed. 6G, discussion and possible action of reappointment of Paul Bricky as tree warden for a term of 4/13/2024 through 4/12/2026.
I'll make the motion that we reappoint Paul Bricky as our tree warden for the term of 4/13/2024 through 4/12/2026.
I second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed. 6H, discussion and possible action on appointment of Melissa Cassidy as an alternate member of the Inland Wetlands and Conservation Commission for a term of 8/13/2024 through 8/12/2026.
I make a motion that we put Marissa Cassie as an alternate member in the Wetlands and Conservation Commission for the term of 8/13/2024 through 8/12/2026.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on 6H. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed. 6I, discussion and possible action on authorizing the first selectman to sign the agreement with Ty and Bond for Phase 2 environmental site assessment and hazardous building materials assessment for the former Petrillo's garage site.
Now, did we get a grant for this?
Yes, we did. It's Brownfield.
Well, I just want to make clear something on my point of view. We all know the place is contaminated, so, and I know we're working with the tax collector to whether we can get, you know, our taxes paid, but I'm concerned that we prematurely grab this piece of property before I know the full extent of the contamination and then put a liability on the town to have to clean it up. So I'm certainly okay with, paying Ty and Bond to do an environmental assessment, but I think it's important that we make sure we look at that before we pull the trigger on taking it for taxes and stuff like that, because it could
That's,
be worth
that-
less than you think it is with the environmental.
granted, there's no question, but that's how we got to this point,
No,
by not pursuing it
right.
over the years.
So I'm concerned about picking up a bigger liability than an asset. That's my concern. But I have no problem with, having the first selectman sign the agreement to Ty and Bond for the base to environmental assessment and the hazardous building material for the former patrol property at the site. The garage, patrol garage site.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on 6I. All in favor? Aye, opposed? 6J, discussion and possible action on proposed Public Health and Safety Committee ordinance. You had a chance to read it.
Didn't we have one before? Or is this just a updated one?
All right, so I will be honest, have not had a chance to, look at the difference from the prior with these updates. I don't know if you have any questions about,
I don't know what changed. Can somebody enlighten me as to what changes were made?
I do have a question. On, the powers and duties, did that change at all? Was that updated? Or is it the same as it was? You took it out from,
Yeah, we took it out with the board of finance and the. So Rick should have sent a copy of the sign off sheet
Mhm.
with that. All the stakeholders went into it.
We don't have one.
The other important thing about it was that there's no mechanism in place. If somebody didn't show up for a meeting, you'd have to get them to send in a letter. So if you can't get a hold of them, you couldn't get a letter.
Mhm.
So now it's been changed to 3 months. So
I have a little bit of concern about, under the duties where it, to receive complaints regarding potential and or existing unsafe hazardous conditions at places or facilities open to the public in the town. I don't think it should be exclusively to the Public Health and Safety Committee, because right now, all of those things, for example, the kids jumping off the dam, that's something that really needs to come through the selectman's office first. And then, maybe shared with that committee. So I think if we could reword this a little bit, because it makes it sound like all potential hazards are identified by the committee and go through the committee. You see what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be picky.
But we were notified and then it was sent to you, right? Because you're the board of selectmen to make the decision. Whether to do it. I think we're just an avenue to something to take the issue.
Yeah, but you're putting yourself in as the liaison representative, board of selectmen, superintendent, schools, state police, fire marshals. So basically, you're putting yourself between everybody as you're the go-between. And that removes some of our, or some of the superintendents or some of the state police's, responsibility.
I just think there's a danger in that. I just think. I don't know how anybody else feels.
Well, that's the way it was in the past. You really changed that part of it.
Oh,
Well, for example. Lori contacted the committee on the dive. The diving off or the jumping off the dam.
Originally, it came to us first because she contacted us and we
Yep.
followed through, checked out, and then we sent it to the selectmen.
I think
That's last year. That
Last
was
year,
oh, this
yeah.
was yesterday, something.
And then there was
Yeah.
another one this year, yeah.
Yeah, again, I don't know, can we rethink a little bit of the powers and duties? I mean, it's up to the two of you. I'm just speaking for myself.
Well, don't we have another meeting coming up that we can go over this, the three?
We have a CERT meeting coming up.
Oh, that's, is it cert, that's good.
Yeah, cert.
Okay.
Yeah, it's different.
Okay, I thought it would be an opportunity to sit down, to go over it.
Here's what I'm willing to do. I mean, I'll come up with a suggestion. Or at least my thought, and then I'll email it to you.
I should go to ordinance committee.
Okay,
01, right?
Yeah, except, the ordinance committee, Rich,
I'm sorry, say that again?
Senator Rich.
Okay,
To go to the ordinance committee.
all right.
Got it.
I'll make a motion that we table item 6J till the next meeting and have an opportunity for the ordinance committee to review it with us.
I said,
And we have a motion and a second to table, 6J. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, 6K, discussion and possible action on reappointment of the school building committee.
I have a couple thoughts on that.
Okay.
I thought we were at a meeting when the school building committee asked to be dissolved by Marty Osgood a few months ago. Okay, that's my first question. The second question is, do you want a committee going if we have no project form or no committee things going for them, or this committee stays in place until a job comes up? Or what's the purpose of this committee, is what I guess I'm saying in general. If there is no school building committee, if there's nothing going on in the school, and it was already asked to be dissolved 2 or 3 months, maybe a month, couple months ago.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure if it even should be there, because we dissolved it as a board of selectmen a few months ago.
No.
Which
You
we did.
dissolve the alternative school building committee.
Okay,
So we have multiple school building committees.
we do.
Well, we had.
So,
The idea of that ordinance, like the idea of that ordinance is, from time to time, something comes up at the school where the school building committee is needed. Like, within 30 days to act on something. So if it's not in place, then we don't have it readily available when the school needs it to be able to act on something, whether it be a grant or something the state requiring them to do over there or whatever.
and it
So
doesn't
that's why-
necessarily mean that they have to meet.
Right, it doesn't
Regularly.
necessarily mean,
They're
but
kind of on call.
right, and it is our ordinance that says that we have one that terms run concurrent with each board of selectmen.
Yeah.
We just did not do that in November, which we should have. We did appoint you to it though, Martin,
I see that. I
as
didn't
the
even know
board of
that.
selectmen representative, yes.
Well, you put me on the snowflake committee.
Yeah, I
so
just
there
want
you
to
go.
know. We're even at this point. That's what happens when you don't show up,
Yeah, so I think it's something that really, by ordinance has to be in place. And that Lisa has been working on, who the current members should be. And, having the members reappointed. So that they are concurrent with our terms. And, I think it probably should remain that way.
Yeah, it did come up once, I think when it was in the middle of bonding, and then we realized we didn't have a school building committee in place. And we needed to have that committee in place, but we are still in need of members at large. We need 6, and I think the only ones we have are, Mr. View is no longer interested, Rich Wazelik is, and I haven't heard back from Mr. Barney. I did email him, but I haven't heard from him.
So can we put something out stating that we are looking for members at large?
Sure,
Okay,
put on the website.
okay. Okay, so any other conversation about that? Martin?
I'm just not sure what we need to do. Are we just authorizing the reappointment of the school building committee as presented? These names that we have?
No, only the one I gave you. The only one on the agenda for tonight is Rich Wassler.
So item K doesn't need any action on it.
No, that was just to discuss it, and then the next one is Rich Wassler,
It says
but
possible action, that's why it's.
yeah, there's really no action, just that we are gonna reinstate it, or that we do need to reinstate it. As long as you all agree on that and understand it,
Yeah.
then there's no action.
So we have to wait until it's filled.
No, we can just keep appointing them until it is full, yes.
And
Then
then
it'll be in place.
to be discussed at next meeting. hopefully. Okay, so we can move on to 6L. Discussion and possible action on reappointment of Richard Wazelik as a member of the school building committee for a term concurrent with that of the Board of Selectmen or from 11/21/2023 to 11/18/2025.
I make a motion, we, put Rich Wassler on. School building committee.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And then discussion 6M, discussion and possible action on requesting the ordinance committee to review town permitting fees.
Okay, that's probably mine, because I probably started, when I first came into town, some of you guys know I'm in construction. And, I really think the town of Bridgeville hasn't changed their fee structure on permits, zoning applications, pretty much anything in years and years and years. So it was, it's up to you guys. I think, and I do have some paperwork because we did request our department heads to get us some information on what they're charging fees now. I did, reach out to some towns locally, even Lisbon and stuff like that, and we're still under the mark. So I would like, if it's all right with you guys, to, give this package and let the, ordinance committee go through it and maybe research it and come up with something that actually hits the 21st century and fees, because truly these haven't been changed since the 80s and 90s. Yeah,
It's been that long.
oh, absolutely. You agree with say?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, you're right.
They haven't been changed forever.
Okay.
And I just think, and I don't have a problem with them staying there, but I think we're leaving some money on the table for fees and some structures and stuff like that. Not that I'm trying to overcharge people, but it's substantially, like I said, it's been years. Once they start looking it up, they can get back to us, but it has been definitely since the 90s. So we haven't changed any prices.
Okay.
So, I mean, would you guys consider giving it the ordinance committee to?
I'll make a motion that we approve item 6M and ask the ordinance committee to review the town permitting fees and see if we can come up with an updated schedule.
So
I'll second that.
I can second. Okay. And I'll second. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? And item number 7, any other business that may properly come before the board?
I have none.
I have none.
I have.
Okay. Item number 8, public forum.
Jumping back to item like and baby stuff. But anyway, we had talked
Excuse
to
me,
Carl
Wayne.
Brown.
Excuse me, Wayne.
Oh, wait, man, I want to sorry.
That's okay.
And we had talked to Carl Brown about the
permit fees back in February, I think they did something like that.
Yeah, February, March, yeah.
So he wanted just a $50 minimum for basic fees, permit fees for processing, administration costs, stuff like that. He follows the table that he presents to you guys as far as the fees go. So you may want to talk to Carl first before you send it to us. But we went through this with him.
Well, I spoke to Carl directly and he's telling me he's got no teeth in some of our regulations. For example, if you do not pull a permit in Lisbon, there's a fine incurred and all the fees come there. If you don't pull a permit in Griswold, there's no fine, it's still $100. It's if you don't want to deal with it, I just don't deal with it, but we haven't changed our zoning application, we haven't changed our building application, we haven't changed our wetlands application. There's multitude of things we haven't done in years, but if you don't want it, we can handle it.
Well, we can contact Carl and see what his ideas are.
Well, it's just not one person, it's the whole,
And Mario as well,
it's everybody. I got a hold of
the assessor's
the
office.
assessor's office.
Yeah.
Everybody hasn't had, there's no
There's a
ready.
certain table or something that everybody looks at. That's what Carl told us. We looked at it, presented it to us.
Well, it's based off the value of the project, but you give them the factor of the value of the project. So if he goes off the table, let's just say it's $100, 1,000, or whatever the number is.
Alright.
So whatever your job value is, that's your thing, but we determine, the board of selectmen or somebody determines the factor number for the application process. If that makes any sense, I don't know. So, but if you don't want it,
So I just don't want to rehash it. We haven't talked. Go ahead.
Dave?
Debut 59, we have it. Carl Brown did come to us because we had looked at raising fees and he kind of almost said it's not your job. And which we kind of took offense to. He then produced this state published sheet that was standards for charging fees. And so we accepted that. And that's what we handed back saying fees should be based on this state sheet.
How about fines?
Nothing was mentioned of fine.
how about zoning, how about wetlands, how about?
If we had information on that, we would have attacked it.
Okay. So should we send a letter to the chair and let the committee discuss it at one of your meetings?
Yeah.
To see if it's something that you'd like to take on? And then,
I think if you're an ordinance committee and we have an ordinance, you should look into it.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be just you hammering us with any ordinance you decide to write up. I think if we have a legitimate issue, a legitimate concern, and I don't think it's out of the realm for the board of selectmen to ask the ordinance committee to look at it.
We
That's
need
just
to,
my opinion.
no, I agree with you, but I think we need to get the input from the other land use committees.
We
As
have,
far as their current schedule, okay, you got it?
yeah, we
And
got
what-
for that before. Surrounding towns.
Oh, you got it.
I got everything.
All right. We'll pass that on to them
Well.
if they want to.
Okay.
We'll send a letter to Rich to ask them if they would consider, reviewing that material and come up with a,
I don't think it's a matter of wanting to review it. If you guys can sign it, we do it.
great, thank you. Any other public forum? Todd Babbitt.
There were, couple things on the Trillo's property.
Can you speak up?
Yep, on the Trillo's property for the tie-in bond. I know Martin's concern was taking that as liability. When I was in office, we filed paperwork with the state that says we can take that property and there's no clock that starts ticking. And I can get you the information, contact person, at least it should have that paper on file.
Well, my concern is reselling it, owning it and then reselling it.
Well,
Make a profit.
we made a proposal at that time, so that was a different situation. We had proposed to give it to DEP after we took it because they ordered it back and they wouldn't be.
I just wasn't
They
sure.
would be cleaning up their own property. But we didn't know the extent of the contamination. We'd set it up for an EPA grant to go out there and do a free assessment to determine the level of contamination. but that will not follow through on the next administration.
All right, thank you.
Dave View, 59 Leah Avenue. The Petrillo property has been something I've watched for decades. And my understanding was, because I've talked with Todd about it several times. If that property does become abandoned because the gentleman is not young, they'll eventually pass on, and that will become an abandoned property, which means it's still gonna come under the town realm. And we're still gonna end up with some liability for it.
It's in foreclosure is my understanding.
Yeah,
It's currently in foreclosure.
yeah.
And the bankruptcy got denied their.
Yeah.
Denied that, yes.
Yeah. So we're gonna end up with it anyway. And if we can get something back on it, great. If we can at least make it safe, that's the big thing. I mean, everybody seems to forget that there's a waterway that runs virtually adjacent to that property. And I can't believe wetlands hasn't looked at that. I said, this could be a problem. Because all that contaminant is leaching through the soil.
I know that Ty and Bond is looking at, you know, the evaluation and, doing their work through the Brownfield grant, but, we met with the Council of Governments. And I don't know, were you in on the Brownfield conversations, Lori?
Yes.
They, through the Council of Governments, they are working with, it might even be EPA to come in and do studies on certain parcels. They've identified certain parcels of land within the town. So we did sit and discuss it with them. And Petrillo's was one of them, but because I think Mario got Ty and Bond involved, they're doing that. But also through this program, through the council, once they go through and evaluate, they may be able to find ways for remediation. So that's something, once the Ty and Bond thing is finished, that, you know, we can talk with council on, remediation.
Yeah.
So, you know, keep the plan going. All right,
Yeah, I mean, sooner or later, they gotta level that building.
I don't know,
If it's on
I just don't want to
safety,
become a
go.
liability to the town.
Mm.
Yeah.
Have the lien be exceed what the cleanup cost is gonna be. That's my concern.
yes,
Melissa Cassidy, 177 Campbell Road. Number one, thank you for appointing me to Wetlands Commission. I appreciate that. Number two was the school building committee. So can you just clarify? So do you have to reappoint the people, or do the commissions that you were like I was serving on it as the planning and zoning rep? Does the planning and zoning have to reappoint that?
well, Lisa, you questioned Mario about that today because she had contacted him to have it last Wednesday, to have it discussed at planning and zoning, and when she checked with him today, he said it never came up.
It wasn't on the agenda.
Yeah, it wasn't on the agenda and we both kind of forgot about it, but we didn't know like if it has, so all those, so the people that I think Rick was holding up a list, every committee has to reappoint, is that the next process? Okay.
Yeah.
And then my other question was with Main Street decorative lighting. So when the lights are destroyed with accidents, do we get reimbursement from insurance and stuff? And where is that money going? Like, if say somebody takes down the pole, are we getting money from the town, from their insurance companies or not?
Did we not check on the one on the corner?
Slater
What-
Avenue.
When the trailer truck, wasn't there a trailer truck that took it down, or what's happened in the past, in other words, when?
Right, that's what I'm wondering, yeah.
So typically, when somebody hits it, we can get the information either through the state police or through the camera video. We follow up on it and we get a hold of whoever it is, the state police, and do an insurance claim. The majority of the ones that were taken down, probably 3 or 4, were Western Express. They're self-insured and they denied the claim.
Yeah.
We just had one taken down in front of the savings bank when we were paving Tracy Avenue 2 months ago. Resident trooper was out, a regular trooper came, he viewed the bank cameras, they got a plate number, the main plate, and it was unregistered. So we had no way to track it.
And then,
They hit them and they keep going, we're out of luck.
Right, and then Eric also said that when they do pay, the insurance companies are depreciating the
Yeah.
value that they pay.
They're trying to, but what we've been saying lately is that one was just replaced not too long ago, and then they can't say it.
Right.
And then I haven't had a chance to read the ordinance that you talked about in J, but I will say, like, based on your conversation where you're saying like it would go to public health and safety, the only thing that would concern me, like your wording is, say something was really dangerous and it goes to them, it has to wait 2 or 3 weeks before they have a meeting. You know, that's just my concern. So maybe multiple people aware at the same time is probably best.
Yeah. Thank you.
Maybe we should say something about to the effect that any and all claims or files have to come through the first selectman's office, and you can forward it on to health and safety, but you have first chance to react to it. Something along those lines.
Well, I can tell you,
Or concurrently, but at least
Yeah.
it's not waiting over
Well,
here.
by coming to the first selectman's, you can get an immediate response, where if you have to wait till the next committee meeting, well,
I would say that the majority of calls that come in on issues or concerns typically will come to the selectman's office first, and then, so we can tweak it a little bit, we can talk about it.
Anything it says in our job description, you have to add. Something goes- It says that people who are concerned with safety is a contact with the public health and safety. That's in our job description. It's another document. And the only thing I gotta be careful of, we want to be careful, we want to be micromanaged. If you're gonna take over, but you guys are gonna take control of everything, then take us on a vision.
No, it's just we have to be concerned about the liability part of it.
I understand that.
And that's something that we,
Contact.
and it has, it's not about micromanaging, it's just that we have to be careful. If, let's say there's something really serious,
They're gonna go-
Who's on
they're gonna
first?
Come to us.
who's on first? You know, I mean,
Come to us, they're gonna go to you.
and that's fine. But I think that, you know, as long as we're all on the same page, so that there's not confusion about where does it go to? You know, or that people aren't confused, who do they go to? That's all I'm saying, it's not,
And you gotta
believe me.
change the other document as well.
Okay, then we'll look at it, we'll definitely look at it.
Oh, can you just remind me of your name and what street you live on, please?
Oh. Oh, that's 1 David Street.
Thank you.
And just while the note, I know when I worked for Eversource that when they have a traffic accident or pole got damage, insurance is 24 months. They have to put into the insurance company within 20.
24.
Otherwise it's.
Yes, Florida Order 67 Ashland Street. I'm gonna go back to that, item J. And I know that the first time that ordinance, the draft ordinance was sent around, the borough was included because there were some borough, implications in there, some mentions of the borough. I have not seen the amended one, so I don't know if there's any borough implications in that. But, if there is, I would have to put that through to my board also, see what their opinions, would be on that. So I don't know if it's in there, but if it is, could somebody just forward it?
Yeah, I made a note,
Thank you.
we'll do that. Okay. And there was another hand, yes, Ransom.
Ransom, you need to speak up, please. Yes, please. Thank
Perfect.
you.
Frank, the other guy was over on, Bridgetown Road. I want to thank the town, they cut a tree today, and it was leading away from the neighborhood, but, what day did they cut that?
Thursday.
Thursday.
We just wanted to see what.
Guess what happened Friday? The tree fell on the same side. And, it sounded like a grenade. Boom. And the tree hadn't been shaped somewhat like this, growing, well, this way, but leaning about like this. It came down its ground with base stem, and the upper part of it fit like it was over the lower roof, over the top, which did damage to the tree. We didn't know that, no. I got up on the roof, chainsaw it off, because they had an electric chainsaw I don't want everyone to hear about electric vehicles. I don't want to hear about electric schools. I own a couple of electric schools that I love them, but don't force me to have electric schools because they couldn't do it and I had to get my chainsaw out.
There you go.
But now, continue, now, that tree is road, actually, they cleaned it up, because the folks don't burn wood anymore. And so they're gone, the years, and, once they got out the road, they were, it was bad. Now, the town fought people nail in 2009 to get the, road needed, put on, to the town. Now,
All right, I can barely hear you.
well, okay, I can't speak any louder.
Okay,
So, going back 4 or 5 years, not with Franklin, they had a big road project to do, and they held it where, the high school, right? Where they reviewed the cost, and the roads which were in trouble, and so forth and so on. But I do not recall what they, listed for discontinued roads. Now, the town owns discontinued roads, and only the people that decide have the right to use it. But, it's not obligated beyond a simple request I have, still in the rush, is the town obligated to repair it? And if they are, why don't they take all this, assessment, and actually building materials assessment money and put a portion of it towards these roads. The other project that gets my goal is when they had the big UConn study was in the parking lot for Walgreens, on the fields and whatnot, and it never came to fruition. And they were supposed to redo the town hall, parking lot, and all that area. And that,
Okay,
I think, was-
let's answer at least 2 questions. I think you're gonna be in charge of this on the discontinued roads. And then the town hall parking lot, we just had a conversation about that.
Discontinued roads, if it's discontinued, we don't have any on.
Okay, so the town has no responsibility for discontinued roads.
Off the state road list, we've done Culver Road, we've done a few others over the years, they come off.
You still have
The. No, but usually it's divided between property owners on both sides.
that's what it's supposed to.
That's if it discontinued road. We did it with the road that runs from Lily Pond Road to Route 12, where it's one house.
Then the tree, you have to build the people next to the house you cut it up, because they came up with the deed for Red Rock, and it's decent.
Not to my knowledge.
Well, I know.
And then the town hall,
2010 meeting.
Because we didn't discontinue the whole road. We only discontinued Red Bond Road from Richardson Hill Road down to Willow's houses. The rest of it never got discontinued.
Where?
Those houses are on Richardson Hill Road. That piece got discontinued.
This is happened with, Old North.
We did Old Norwich Road the same night.
That's right.
They only did a piece of Red Bond Road because it was contested.
There's also, but it's needed to now, and it hasn't been unseated. I haven't signed anything, and, no one else I know has signed anything.
okay. I think what we're gonna do is let's do a little bit of research on it and maybe we can put it on as an agenda item so that we can have, well, look at the agenda for the next Board of Selectmen meeting. We'll be happy to put it on there after we have a little bit more information on it. Todd, do you think you can get that information?
I don't get it in 2 weeks.
All
right. Okay, well, we're not gonna discuss any of the other roads right now. But I think, okay,
But that means you know, talking about now, open stands and parking lots. And,
Parking lot for the town hall was under the small cities grant for the Main Street streetscape.
Right,
Well, part of that, it was just a different phase, but they never got it.
but there's no money left there.
never happened, what happened to the money?
They didn't get it, it was another phase that they never got money for.
Yeah,
They got the phase of light poles on Main Street and doing some sidewalks. Oh. And they were gonna do a walking trail next, over by Nico's greenhouse, was approved by Rite Aid or something.
They wanted to go 5 miles with that.
And the parking lot was gonna have a kiosk and some other stuff installed, that was another phase.
That kind of Heritage Square, Heritage River walkway at one time.
yeah. Okay,
But the money for the assessment.
any other public forum?
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah, well, that's it.
All in favor?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?